everyone, and welcome back to a year in the TikTok of Feminist Landwhale. We are covering her again because I'm really kind of digging commenting on her hypocrisy, her victim mentality, and just her overall nastiness. But something really interesting happened when I brought all this up to prepare for the video. This was the penultimate TikTok that we looked at, I believe, from last time. And the final video that I had looked at last time is gone. These two are muted. I can't hear, like, there's a comment and stuff, but I've already checked them out because I was, like, trying to find the last video that I looked at so we can continue straight from there. It's not available anymore. These are muted. I don't know if she muted it. I don't know if she deleted the video or if something else happened. It just... And unfortunately, I didn't check this before I uploaded my last video, so I don't know if this was in response to my video. I don't know what happened here, but it's gone. These two are muted, so we're going to go ahead and start with this one. And without further ado, let's just get into it.
If you haven't seen the comment this video...
Okay, so it took me a little bit to find a video that was worth commenting on, so we had to skip several. I think this one will work. The comment says, "You feeling fat and him actually being fatphobic are two different things. Nothing about that comment is about you, grow up, professional victim." With a caption of "trigger warning, fat phobia, and mention of EDs." Now, I believe this is in response to a club video that she had where, according to her, a cis male came up to her, looked at her drink, and went, "Ugh, too many calories." I think that's the one she's referring to.
It was from, go watch it, but basically what happened was I went out to my favorite bar last weekend, which is a gay bar, more specifically a lesbian bar, and a man comes up to me and asks me what I'm drinking, and I told him I'm drinking a Dirty Shirley Temple, and he, responds by, rolling his eyes and going, "Ugh, that's too many calories." And I made a little video about it because I was mad that someone fucking said that to me because that's rude as shit. And so many of the comments on that video are deflecting what he actually said to me and just focusing on whether or not this man was actually cis. Because I said he was a cis gay man. And I guess, you're right in some aspect. I shouldn't assume if people are cis or not. But at the same time, why aren't you focusing on the actual fat-phobic thing he said to me? This is about me because as a fat person, I am most affected by diet culture and fat phobia.
For me, do I think what he said was rude? Yes. She keeps emphasizing that she's at lesbian bars and she sees... This was in a couple of the TikToks that I didn't cover because I didn't really feel like they were relevant. But she was doing a PSA for bi women and telling them not to bring their boyfriends to lesbian bars. And then there was this apparently what she claims to be a cis gay man at a lesbian bar. I can't help but wonder if these bars are truly lesbian bars or if she feels like they should be lesbian bars and gets territorial over it, because everything about her personality that we've seen up until now has the thing where and it's the same thing with a lot of the FAs. They claim that oversized clothing should only be for fat people because they're regular size clothing for them. And by, taking the clothes, you're creating scarcity or some bullshit like that. And I find it interesting, the amount of deflection. She's giving a token acknowledgement of, yes, she's assuming his gender and stuff, but how dare you overlook her victimhood? And the thing is that I agree, coming up to you and saying a catty comment, making a comment on your drink was kind of rude in the way that it was handled. It wasn't with malintent. I can't say because I didn't see the interaction. With the FAs, they tend to sometimes tweak things, so I do wonder if he actually rolled his eyes, number one, and I wonder if he said, too many calories for me, instead of just too many calories, and she got offended. I don't know. I don't mean to be the person that questions, everyone's interpretation of events that they experienced, but so many times we've seen with the FAs them take something and put more inference into the actions of others than was actually there, because of their own insecurities. But this whole "why aren't you acknowledging my victimhood?" like it always gets me.
This man was objectively thin, and he was talking to me, a fat person, a fat woman, might I add. And he said something fat phobic and something like he said a statement that is
Like, she's really, really trying to paint herself as a victim, and how she had to deal, like, this whole event was a matter of prejudice and was a marginalizing act by this cis gay man, like, the thin cis gay man. Honey, not every negative interaction with another human being has to come down to some sort of oppression. Sometimes people do things that rub you the wrong way. Sometimes people are fucking rude. Sometimes you're just dealing with an asshole. But not everything has to be wrapped up in this sense of oppression that you desperately want.
rooted in diet culture. So yes, this is about me. This is about something that someone said to me. I don't know what's going on in that man's life. I don't know if he has an eating disorder or if he had. I have had an eating disorder and
If he rolled his eyes and said, ugh, too many calories, that is not immediately indicative of him having an ED. I resent that implication that she's putting on. And I think it represents, one, that you are over pathologizing people because you are so desperate to legitimize your way of life as though it should be seen as universally socially acceptable, when, newsflash, if there's such a small percentage, if it even exists at all, which I'm not convinced that it does. If it does, it's an exceedingly small percentage where every aspect of your life is seen as universally socially acceptable within the country that you live. If it does exist at all, it is such a minuscule amount. The choices that you make are going to be problems for someone every time. It's just the way of life. People have their opinions about your life based on what you share with them. People have their opinions based on what they think is normal, based on what they think is right, based on what have you. The answer isn't to then infer, like, take this major inference to, well, clearly you have an ED.
still struggle with it. So why is it okay for him to say this to me, but not okay for me to be upset about it? And also, I said this in a reply to this comment, but I don't feel fat. Again, I actually am fucking fat. I am a fat woman, and what this man said to me was rooted in diet culture, fat phobia, and even fucking misogyny.
So here's the thing. I don't think that people are necessarily upset that you were upset by what this guy said. I think it's kind of reasonable to be like, what a rude ass motherfucker. Yeah, that was rude. It was rude what he said. It's not like, if you think it's too many calories, fine. Shut up, walk away. It's fine. Like, just have your judgment, whatever. I think at least the issue that I have with your reaction is that you are trying to tie it to some level of oppression rather than just a rude interaction with someone. Like I said before, negative interactions don't have to have some sort of root in some sort of prejudice or oppression. You putting that on there as though you are a victimized minority is what I think people have the biggest issue with. But let's move on.
Some girls may have issues with their bodies, but maybe they just aren't as pretty as I am.
No, because people are going to be mad, but I agree. Like, as a fellow size 0, if you want to have this body and be this snatched and skinny, then go hit the gym and eat a salad and stop being a fatty, fat.
I mean, honestly, the amount of insecurity that reeks from her, she really... I'm like, was I this immature at 22? Like, I know 22-year-olds can be immature. It feels like it's that age range where, like, there's a wider level of maturity than in most other age groups, and perhaps that's just me projecting or whatever, but don't get me wrong, this was kind of a superficial, quasi-narcissistic take But this, I don't know. For me, I don't think that the original TikTok is great by any means. I think it's kind of a catty thing to do. Clearly, everyone in this TikTok is feeling themselves in some way or another. I think what it comes down to for me is I don't know these women, and but I don't get the feeling that they try to say that they're marginalized in any way, especially given this sort of TikTok. But the fact that you are trying to put them down, that you are trying to make them insecure, I think that's the reading that I'm getting from this. But then you, just in the previous video that we looked at, were like, I'm a marginalized person, and I have been a victim of this encounter with what was basically just a rude person. It's that whole weird balancing thing that she's trying to do while trying to troll and be catty and, clap back, while also trying to put herself on this, ooh, poor me, doe-eyed, I'm just a victim, and I am a defenseless small animal at the same time. We see it, like, we've seen enough of her TikTok that she tries to play both parts, and it just doesn't work like that. If you were trying to play both parts in this, then you'd have some self-reflection that you need to do, because you clearly lack some self-awareness.
What's up, whale watchers? Welcome back to What I Eat in a Day as a Fat Person Who Doesn't Care About Losing Weight. Starting the day off strong with water and medication, even though I look like the Crypt Keeper. Then, for lunch, I had Indian food. Also, no breakfast today, just lunch because I woke up at noon, LOL. Then, I had water while I was running some errands. I love water. Then I had a black bean and cheese tamale from the farmer's market with some hot sauce, delicious. This raspberry lemonade from Safeway was also delicious. Then I had some Cheetos. And let me tell you about Cheetos. They are my favorite chip ever. I love Cheetos. Then I had some barbecue chips. Not as good, but still good. I love chips.
Like, I understand liking chips, I do, but this is, it's a lot of calories for not, one, like hardly any nutrition, and then two, for something that isn't really going to fill you up. I'm not saying I don't understand liking chips, I do, but we already saw that she had that, whatever leftover food she had for her brunch had like rice and bread and overall, like, not bad carbs by any means. But then her lunch was that tamale that didn't look like it had any significant amount of protein in it. Again, I don't think that it's terrible. I don't think those two meals were terrible. I bet that they're pretty calorie laden given the types of food she got and given that she ate out and didn't make it herself. And anytime you eat out, it just tends to be more calorie heavy. But then on top of that, these two bags of chips, I know because I've had both of these bags, not in the same sitting, not in the same day, but I've had them both, and those two bags of chips were easily 300 calories. Because a bag of Lay's is typically 160 calories per serving, and I believe the crunchy Cheetos are 130 calories per serving. So 290, pretty close to 300 calories right there alone, on top of the two fairly calorie-laden meals that we've already seen from her. It's not a matter of her metabolism being damaged. She's eating far more than she realizes because she eats just like the quick foods like this.
No matter what. And then for dinner, I had this veggie sausage wrap. It was delicious. And I also had some blue lemonade that I got from the farmer's market. And that's all.
She's got to be careful with drinking the pre-made lemonades. She said it was from the farmer's market, but I don't know. At any time something takes on that very vibrant, unnatural color, to me it tends to signify that it's pretty high in sugar. You would be surprised at how much sugar is in lemonade that you buy, especially like a single bottle. You're like, oh, it's a bottle, and you look on the back and it's like a serving, and you automatically think a serving is like the bottle, but it's not. There was this 12-ounce lemonade that I got once, where a serving was 4 ounces. I didn't realize that. A serving was 4 ounces, and one serving was 140 calories with like 17 grams of sugar. You gotta be careful with these. Now, she didn't eat a huge amount of sugar, but I didn't really see any, like, apart from her dinner, which looked pretty good, there wasn't a significant amount of protein. And while carbs aren't inherently necessarily bad. I know I say, oh, it's carbs and stuff. What I mean when I say carbs is typically like the processed food. But also, I don't think that it's a great idea to just like stick with mostly carbs unless you're like constantly have veggies or something on hand. But that's not what she had. She had like lots of rice and the simple carb type food, which is gonna make you hungry later. She eats far more than she realizes. She takes in more calories than she realizes. Oh, and apparently she had forgotten to record her dessert. She had horchata and some chocolate pie. So I can tell just from what we've seen, I would be willing to bet that she had somewhere between 2,700 and possibly 3,000 calories for the day. She doesn't realize it. I guarantee she doesn't realize it. But tamales aren't typically cheap on calorie wise. That her breakfast, her brunch, whatever, wasn't cheap on calories. Her dinner wasn't bad by any means, but then she also had horchata and chocolate pie. If it's that fucking Marie Callender's chocolate pie, that shit is so high in calories and you don't even realize. And from the two different types of lemonade that she had, plus the horchata, plus the chocolate pie, she had a shit ton of sugar as well. You don't realize when you're not looking at nutrition labels and you're not being more mindful of what you eat, it is so easy to get high sodium, high sugar, simple carb, and not nearly enough nutritional fat and not nearly enough protein in your diet. Because the carbs, especially the processed carbs, it's not so much like the veggies or the whole grains, but the processed carbs and the white bread and the white rice and what have you will make you hungry while also being high in calories. So it's not necessarily that I have a problem with eat whatever you want, but then don't tell me that your metabolism is damaged and that's why you're fat. It's not. From this alone, given that you also forgot to record your dessert, you're taking in far more than you realize.
What's up, whale watchers? Welcome back to another What I Eat in a Day as a Fatty Who Does Not Give a Fuck. First, I had cereal for breakfast.
This is a fucking huge bowl of cereal. Now, granted, you can actually eat quite a bit of cereal for one serving. I don't really recommend it for breakfast, though, because it's just sugar. It's just sugar. Like, this looks like Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Just sugar. Sugar and simple carbs. It's not going to keep you full. I guarantee you're going to be hungry again in like an hour. Because this sort of meal is not designed to keep you satiated.
Breakfast, pretty good, just cinnamon squares. Then I had an English muffin with egg salad and 2 pieces of dark chocolate with almonds.
So the bagel with egg salad wasn't a bad idea, and I don't think that the dark chocolate was so bad. I think that coming right off of the cereal, that huge bowl of cereal, I'm like, was that all for breakfast? I'm just wondering.
Then I had some chips and guac and salsa, yummy. Organic strawberry lemonade, you already know. Then I had some Sprite, and then for dinner we got...
Oh, for fuck's sake, so much fucking sugar. Oh my god. So we have the huge bowl of cereal, we have the chocolate, we have the strawberry lemonade, which I guarantee is high in sugar. It said it was organic, it didn't say it was sugar-free. And then Sprite, which is also laden with sugar. And, like, I don't think that the chips with salsa and guac is necessarily bad as a snack, but I guarantee that you didn't probably measure anything out. And then it's just, again, carbs on top of sugar. It's not good carbs on top of sugar. It's just more processed carbs on top of sugar.
Chinese food. So I had a spring roll with this sauce. It's my favorite sauce ever. Crab rangoon, shrimp chow mein, shrimp and broccoli, some rice, 2 fortune cookies. My fortunes were good. And my dad shared his scallion pancake with me. And that's it. I hope you guys had a great day.
That is a shit ton of food. I don't see how she can say that she can't control her weight because her metabolism is damaged. Look at what you eat. I guarantee if you logged faithfully everything that you consumed, including the liquid, because you're drinking a fair amount of calories here, you would realize that your weight comes in direct proportion to your eating habits.
This just in, it's now BC checking to participate in dances on TikTok. I hope you're also commenting this on every thin person's TikTok who did this trend.
I find this very interesting. So just a quick note here. So this, as you'll notice, it's been like a month almost since, not since the what I eat in a day that we just looked at, but from the video I looked at beforehand. And part of the reason for that seems to be that she was kind of going through some mental health issues. She had an issue with a parent dying and a breakup on top of that. So she was kind of going through this shit. And at one point, she did do the Lizzo About Damn Time TikTok dance. Someone said, stop body checking. And this was her response to that. The thing is that the person that she claimed that was body checking was also just doing a trend. And it wasn't even a body check. It wasn't like body checking, like pose yourself in these weird angles to see either how skinny or how fat you are. It was very much a body positivity sort of trend. And yet when she does a body positivity sort of trend, that's a dance, she'll defend it wholeheartedly. This is such a for me, but not for the sort of situation to me. She's such a hypocrite.
Intuitive eating for an overweight person is like intuitive drinking for an alcoholic. You got fat by trusting your intuition. It doesn't work. If you like to know how I got to be this big, I would love to tell you, because it's not that at all. The reason I am the weight that I am today is because since I was about 6 years old, I've been on and off of diets. I'm 21 now, so that's 15 years.
Okay, so she was 21 when these were recorded. But let's be honest, because you're in a little bit of denial here. We've seen your What I Eat in a Days. You eat fairly calorie-laden food, and you eat fairly often. You also drink your calories quite a bit. I guarantee that you're taking in far more calories than you realize, and I've never seen any TikToks of you doing anything super active. There have even been a few of her at the beach, but she's kind of just laying on a towel. She's not swimming. She's not in the water. She's not doing anything. She is the sun tanner and what have you. And ultimately, I don't personally care about that. What I care about is we can clearly see you eat calorie-laden food. You eat fairly often. You drink your calories. There's not a whole lot of you being physically active. There's stuff of you waiting in line outside of a theater to get tickets. There's you laying on the beach. There's you kind of standing in your room. There's you with making comments. There's your get ready with me's. But there's not a whole lot of you being active, which to me signals, because I mean, you put a lot of your life online. We've seen you in clubs. We've seen you in concerts, XYZ. If you were an active person, we would see some sort of signal for that. You don't go to the gym. It doesn't look like you take many walks, because I believe 100% you would make a video of that. You don't seem to have any sort of active hobby. And from what I've seen from what she's posted of different jobs she doesn't have a particularly active job. So with the high calorie intake, with a sedentary life, that fully explains your weight. Let's just be honest. Also, you'll notice that we skipped many days, like another half month or so. These were the result of her kind of obsessing about a Harry Styles concert a lot. And no shame on that. I just feel like it's important to note that when they have other things to occupy their mind, the fat acceptance people don't post a whole lot about fat acceptance. And and I'm going to point this out pretty much anytime I see it in a creator, especially when it's the result of something positive going on in their life. For her, it was the Harry Styles concert. Because to me, it shows that part of why fat acceptance is so loud is because it's these people's only hobby, and they don't have anything else going on in their lives.
I've been on and off of diets for 15 years, repeatedly losing weight and then gaining even more back, and then losing it and gaining even more back. It's weight cycling, babe. That's why I'm as big as I am today.
You're as big as you are today because of the way you eat. weight cycling doesn't weight cycling is what happens when you take an extreme diet, something that is very when I say extreme, I don't necessarily mean starving. I just mean that it is so far outside of what you've done in the past that it is exceedingly unnatural for you. And it's completely unsustainable for you. So when you fail to adhere to that, and you go back to your own old eating habits, and there's this also compounding emotional quality because you weren't able to hold on to something that you were really excited about, which may lead to more emotional eating. That is why you gain all that weight back. The issue isn't your weight cycling. The issue isn't diet culture. The issue is that you are trying to take too big of a step in weight loss rather than taking a small step. Like for you, I would just recommend don't drink Sprite and don't drink the lemonade anymore. Just work on cutting those two things out. Get those sugar-free, calorie-free water flavor things to add to your water if you really need some sort of flavor in your drink, and then slowly reduce it to where you're just drinking water. It makes a big difference. But you won't take that advice. You won't focus on just one thing at a time, because ultimately FAs tend to be pretty impatient. If something doesn't work immediately, then it's wrong. It's failed. It fails. It's bad science. It's what have you. And this reminds me of some of the people that I know too. And I'm not gonna name names. I'm not even gonna say their relation to me. But I know a number of people that because they're not good at something right away, they just figure it's not worth pursuing and they chuck it aside. Because what they want, and it's kind of similar to what FAs want when they try to lose weight, they want like an immediate skinny body. People that also try to learn something like ballet or piano or drawing or anything like that expect to be immediately good. And not everyone, but there's a certain personality type that we see like in the FA community. And when they're not immediately good at something, they're not immediately the best, they just throw the whole thing away because they don't understand, and the FAs don't seem to understand, that weight loss, along with all of those other skills, are skills, which means they have to be built upon, which means it takes time. Talent is most often hard work that was kept out of sight. Not all the time. There are a few that have a few rare cases that have just some innate, insane talent, but the vast majority of people have talent because what it really is hard work over a number of years behind the scenes.
If I had learned growing up to trust my own hunger cues, I probably wouldn't be as big as I am today, but I'm fine. I'm chilling.
If it were truly just about honoring your hunger cues, yes, that's probably true. But the thing is that let's be honest, especially since you're only 21, everything before this will just say you're a child. Children and teenagers often will eat because something tastes good. Because that's just kind of human nature. You have to learn to kind of fight that urge that I'm feeling bad, so I want to eat something that tastes good to comfort myself. Or I'm bored, I want to eat it because it's like almost a form of entertainment. I want to eat it because I deserve it because I've had a long day. All of those things are things that we do to kind of help cope with life. And the issue is that food is the most easily accessible form of comfort that children and teenagers have. So it's very easy to latch onto that as a coping mechanism. It's not just about hunger cues. It's about learning how to cope with uncomfortable situations. It's about learning how to look at food as fuel rather than entertainment or comfort. And when you're eating something because it tastes good, you're eating it for entertainment. All right, so I want to take a minute to look at your New Year's resolutions. Nicole Pomert says, I never make New Year's resolutions, but this year I've decided to stop pretending to hold certain popular but irrational opinions. I haven't voiced my actual opinions yet to certain people, but wish me luck. I do wish you luck. I understand holding back your opinions. I hold back my opinions a lot, mostly just to avoid conflict because I don't really want to deal with other people. I think that it's a good idea to try to be more open with yourself and where you stand, and I wish you luck. Ivor the Boneless says, my New Year's resolution is to do 2 more hours of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu a week. I've been studying and competing in martial arts for a decade, but humbling myself and doing something I have minimal experience in has been awesome. Love your content. Thank you, and oh my god, good job for putting more effort into your Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I have wanted to try martial art myself. I'm scared, but I definitely wish you luck. I hope you are successful. And please keep us posted because I would love to read it. I'd love to read about your progress. Mel J87 says, my only resolution I'm going to go for is taking more time off for me. Yes. I'm always someone that has to do something, even on my time off. I completely get that. I've been on vacation and catching up on video games and enjoying my albums more. It's nice, and if this is what being relaxed feels like, I'll need to maintain this. I completely understand you, my friend. Oh my god, I'm the type of person that always has a project going on, and relaxing is both good but also really hard for me. Because I kind of feel like I should constantly be working towards some sort of goal. So I completely understand you. I hope you're relaxing more. I hope you're maintaining some relaxation time for yourself. Sarah Nauman says, my New Year's resolutions are, 1, become more consistent with my exercise, because right now I'll have a lot of motivation for 2 to 3 weeks, then do nothing for a month. I understand that. Something that helped me with that was the Run with Hal app, because it would send me reminders every time I had a workout that I had to do. And I still was not 100%. There have been a couple of days where I'm just like, I'm too exhausted, I can't. And I don't end up doing the workout for the day, but it's helped me be more on task with the consistency of workouts. Now I just need something that will help me stay on track for some sort of strength training, because I desperately need it. 2, finish my embroidery project so I can finally wear them. I feel this so much. Oh my god, I have so many. I have an embroidery project on a hoodie. I have a latch hook project that I haven't finished. I have several crochet and knitting projects that I haven't finished. Many embroidery projects for pillowcases that I haven't finished. I get you. 3, recycle more of my plastics because I need to go out of my way to do that, so I haven't been doing it properly. That's an awesome resolution. 4, try to find ways to minimize my food waste. I do impulse shop, and then the stuff I already have at home goes bad. I feel that too. I need to figure out ways. If you figure out a way, especially for number 4, please let me know, because I would love to minimize my food waste as well. Valerie says, my resolution is just to have no junk food January. I prefer short-term goals. Completely get that. If that works for you, awesome. Almost 2 weeks in, so far so good. Valerie, how are you doing with this? I would love to know. Cosmic Jolt says, I'm almost 2 weeks without alcohol. Cosmic Jolt, how are you doing? I'm not sure. I think this will be up before the end of January. So, how are you two doing with your goals? I would love to know. So, Sippin' on Time says, for New Year's resolutions, first is to keep on track with my lifestyle changes. 50 pounds down, 50 more to go. Yay, good job. And work on my art skills so it doesn't look like a kindergarten first drawing. Completely get that. I should post. I have actually something for drawing skills, depending on what you want to learn. If you are like brand new and never drawn before, I really recommend You Can Draw in 30 Days, because it really helps with just getting a hold of the basic concepts of like foreshortening and how to create depth and shading and all that sort of thing. It really kind of helps with those basic understanding of concepts. And that was all of the New Year's resolutions. Thank you so much for sharing with me. I love reading them. If you have any updates on yours, I would love to read them in the comments. Some of you may have noticed I have kind of fallen behind responding to comments. I'm going to get back on that soon here. I ended up getting behind on my schoolwork some because it took forever for my textbook to get here. And so I finally got caught up. So now I can kind of go back and take a look at some of the stuff that I was neglecting before. So thank you for your patience. Thank you for watching. Thank you for commenting. Thank you for everything, you guys. I adore you. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you next time.